Enoch is getting serious. Look at that gaze as he says, "I'm worried about you too." My heart is melting. Margaret is completely caught off guard. His words are echoing in her head. Is the ice finally melting? But wait, a sudden realization hits her. Something is definitely not right in her calculated plan. That meat had just changed the whole vibe. Enoch looks like he's searching for a deeper meaning in her eyes. Panic mode on. She's terrified that Enoch thinks she's still that obsessed girl from the past. Talk about an awkward misunderstanding. Internal screaming. Margaret is struggling to keep her cool, while Enoch is out here looking like a whole snack. She admits he's been a total gentleman. Living together on this island has definitely softened her heart. But is it love? Or just mild affection? She's trying so hard to friendzone the crown prince. The ultimate friendzone move. It's only natural to care after living together. Ouch. That's gotta hurt Enoch. Enoch is not having it. He's like, "Margaret, that's not what I meant at all." The tension is peaking, guys. Margaret interrupts with a serious face. She's trying to steer the conversation back to safety. She argues that trivial feelings are a luxury they can't afford on this island. Logic over love, right? She suggests they should hold back a bit. Oh, Margaret, you're playing with fire here. Look at Enoch's eyes. That intense gaze says he's definitely not planning on holding back. The tension is real. Just look at his hand clenching. He's reaching his limit with her excuses. Margaret senses the danger. She's literally shrinking away from the overwhelming aura he's emitting. She thinks she nailed the answer. Time to retreat, she says to herself. But Enoch has other plans. Suddenly, shock. Enoch moves in faster than she can blink. Her heart is definitely skipping a beat. The moment we all waited for. Enoch gets dangerously close. Would I be acting like this right now? He whispers, ripped to all the viewers' hearts. Margaret is completely speechless. What did he just say? The crown prince just dropped a major truth bomb. Look at this dramatic shot. Enoch is literally on his knees, and the atmosphere is heavy with unspoken words. Margaret is shook. She thought he'd back off after a clear rejection. But Enoch is being way more headstrong than she imagined. She's literally clutching her dress, trying to stay rational, survival first, romance later. She tells herself, she's bringing up the past. Margaret reminds him, "You said there's no way you develop feelings for me." Ouch. Talk about a reality check. She's not holding back. "You told me not to hold on to false hopes." She's using his own words against him. She argues that progressing further will only make things annoying for both of them. Is she really trying to kill the mood right now? The ultimate rejection. So how about we stop here? Margaret is trying to end this before it even starts. My heart is breaking for Enoch. Silence. Then, Enoch lowers his head. The proud crown prince is looking completely defeated right now. Margaret is stunned. She didn't expect this reaction at all. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Margaret is feeling the guilt. She didn't expect Enoch to take her words so hard. Is she the villain now? It feels so unfair. Talk about a backfire. Her own cold logic is stabbing her conscience. She's only giving back what he once gave her, but it still hurts. Time for a reality check. Margaret breaks the silence with a powerful statement. Enoch, I want to live. The survival instinct is kicking in. She's trying to set boundaries again. Let's focus only on staying alive. It's a pragmatic move to escape the romantic tension. The proximity is insane. We can deal with everything else later. Is that a promise for the future? Or just a delay tactic? We're all holding our breath. Enoch finally gives in. That simple all right carries so much weight. He's respecting her wish, even if it's killing him inside. Look at this gorgeous sunset. It's the perfect backdrop for Enoch as he suppresses his surging emotions. The man is a true soldier of love. The cave is officially too small for this much awkwardness. Margaret needs some air to clear her head. The chibi art here is just too relatable. Wait, who is that? Margaret spots a mysterious figure in the distance. The peace and quiet didn't last long. A wild Kaiden appears just when things were settled with Enoch. Another male lead enters the scene. The island drama is about to level up. Margaret feels a pang of guilt. Kaiden has been searching high and low for her in this massive forest. She finally breaks the silence. "Sorry for making you worry," she says. A rare moment of vulnerability for RFL. Kaiden's smile is just, chef's kiss. As long as you're safe, it's fine. He's being such a gentleman. Or is he? Flashback time. Kaiden describes the chaos. The crown prince was literally losing his mind with separation anxiety. Kaiden calls it quite the spectacle. He's low-key enjoying Enoch's misery. The jealousy is real. Guys, the bombshell. Kaiden drops the truth. I ended up overhearing everything you said inside. My jaw just hit the floor. Margaret.exe has stopped working. She's beyond embarrassed. Every private word she said to Enoch. Kaiden heard it all. Panic level 1000%. She's thinking, what should I do now? There's no escaping this awkwardness. The ultimate cliffhanger. Kaiden pulls her close and whispers, I've started getting interested in you too. Team Kaiden is officially in the race. Chapter 27 opens with a beautiful but lonely sunset. The calm before the emotional storm, perhaps? A heavy silence settles between them. Both Kaiden and Margaret are lost in their own thoughts right now. Margaret is officially losing it. She's thinking, this is driving me crazy. And honestly, same. Girl. Time for some chibi cuteness. She wonders if the two male leads plan this together just to mess with her head. Kaiden is not playing around. He gets close, lifts her chin, and says, don't joke around. The intensity is off the charts. Receipts. Margaret calls him out. Why would you be interested now? Remember when you said you hated me? She reminds him of their toxic start. He openly despised her with contempt. You can't just erase that with a smile, Kaiden. The logic queen is back. How could I possibly have any feelings for you? She's shutting him down cold. Silence is his only answer. Kaiden looks like he's finally feeling the weight of his past actions. Ending on this moody shot under the full moon. Kaiden looks genuinely hurt. But is it enough to change Margaret's mind? The sunset sets the mood as Kaiden finally drops his pride. A simple sorry. Is he actually changing? He's owning up to everything. The threats, the hatred. Kaiden is laying his cards on the table. Kaiden admits he misjudged her. You're different from the rumors, he says. He's seeing the real Margaret now. Look at this visual. He can't help but be drawn to her. Margaret is literally glowing in his eyes right now. Curiosity turned into interest. Kaiden is falling fast, and he's not even trying to hide it anymore. The confession, he puts his hand over his heart. I've developed feelings. Is your heart racing yet? But wait, Margaret isn't buying it. It doesn't feel sincere, she thinks. Once a red flag. Always a red flag? The ultimate rebuff. Margaret shuts him down cold. Just look at Kaiden breaking a sweat. He's in trouble. Wait, did you see that? Margaret's sharp eyes caught something. Kaiden's earring is actually broken. She's not just a survivalist, she's a detective. I know those earrings help you control your emotions, right? She's reading him like a book. Kaiden is absolutely stunned. The look on his face says it all. How did this girl find out his deepest secret? He's shook. How do you know that? But Margaret just drops another bomb. She knows the person who made them. McDrop. She explains that without that magic power, his emotions are basically running wild. He's completely vulnerable right now. The Savage Queen is back. She claims he's only acting interested because he's losing control. Talk about a cold reality check. She thinks she's given him enough hints to back off. Margaret is literally playing for D chess with these male leads. But here's the catch: she knows the original plot. Everything changes once the real heroine. You want a Lucy, or Ives. A lonely shot under the moonlight. The gap between them feels wider than ever after that conversation. Ending the drama for tonight, Margaret is just exhausted. I should go get some sleep, she says. Good night, heartbreaker. Kaiden is not letting her go that easily. He literally grabs her arm, stopping her in her tracks. The tension is back. He admits it's absurd. At least he has some self-awareness, right? But he's still got that confident smirk on his face. He's doubling down, whatever the reason for my interest. He's being incredibly bold about his feelings right now. The audacity. He tells her his feelings are his to decide. This man is the definition of a red flag charmer, isn't he? He just kissed her hand, and then calls her presumptuous? The psychological warfare is on another level with this prince. Margaret.exe has stopped working. That chibi face perfectly captures how we're all feeling right now. Pure shock. She snatches her hand back. You're selfish. Preach, girl. She's not falling for his Prince Charming act one bit. And he just laughs. I know, he says with that $1 million smile. He's actually enjoying being called out. She's out of there. Kaiden is just waving bye-bye like he didn't just cause a whole heart attack. What a menace. Poor Margaret. Dealing with Enoch was already a full-time job. And now she has Kaiden as another burden. The struggle is real. Margaret is officially exhausted. Dealing with Enoch was a full-time job. And now Kaiden is adding to the burden. Double the trouble, double the headache. Enoch is left standing there, completely speechless. The atmosphere is heavy with everything that's been left unsaid. But those memories won't leave her alone. Kaiden's bold words and that shocking hand kiss are echoing in her mind. She's caught off guard. Why are Kaiden's words suddenly coming to mind? Is the red flag prince actually starting to sway her heart? Direct confrontation. Margaret asked if he overheard her and Kaiden. Enoch's answer: a firm and cold no. But can we really trust him? They walk past each other, but the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. The distance between them feels wider than ever. She's finally said everything she needed to say. No more secrets, no more hiding. Margaret is ready to close this chapter once and for all. A final, chilling warning. Don't regret your words today after you meet the real heroine. The stage is set for you on Lucy's arrival, and things are about to get crazy. Fast forward, for days have passed on the island. We see Enoch and Kaiden keeping the campfire going as the sun sets. Margaret finally joins them, but the atmosphere is a bit heavy. Enoch is always on high alert when it comes to her. Our leading lady is looking completely drained. Survival isn't just a game. It's clearly taking a physical toll on her. Protective Enoch mode activated. He asks if she's alright, and Margaret tries to play it cool despite her exhaustion. Flashback time. She's haunted by the memory of sprinting down that mountain. The adrenaline has finally worn off. Remember those terrifying wolves? Margaret realizes just how vulnerable she is. One wrong move and it's game over. Determined Margaret is back. She vows to start stamina training immediately. She's not just a damsel in distress. Suddenly, a hand reaches out. Look at that stunning close-up of her eyes, pure shock and confusion. Heart-fluttering moment. Enoch checks her for a fever with his bare hand. The proximity is just chef's kiss. At least you don't have a fever. Enoch's gaze is so intense. It's hard to believe he's just checking her health. The ship is sailing, guys. Margaret is strictly drawing the line. I told you I'm fine now. Stop treating her like a fragile doll, Enoch. The awkwardness is real. Margaret is trying so hard to ignore the heavy atmosphere at the campfire. Enoch's worry face is low-key terrifying. Why not rest a bit more? Even Kaiden is looking at him like he's lost it. Logic Queen is back. She's rested for days and is ready to move. She didn't come to this island to be a sleeping beauty. A wide shot of our trio. The scenery is beautiful, but the silence between them, not so much. Enoch is leaning in again. Enoch. Margaret is clearly feeling the heat. And it's not just from the fire. Time for some business. She asks about Sir Diego, but Enoch's got nothing. The escape plan is officially stalled. Disappointment hits hard. I wasn't expecting much, but we really didn't get anything. Back to square one, guys. But wait, Margaret has a new target. Unlike them, Kaiden has been roaming all over the island. He's their best bet. The million-dollar question. Kaiden, have you seen anyone else? She's suspecting he knows something they don't. Is he hiding secrets? A subtle smirk reveals sharp fangs. It seems this prince is hiding a nature that's anything but simple. There's a hint of danger and mystery lurking behind that smile. Kailas confirms that he hasn't seen a single soul on the island. The weight of their isolation is starting to set in as they realize just how truly alone they are. Switching to a super cute chibi style, Eliana is nagging Kailas for constantly going out of his way to hunt monsters. She's worried because it's unnecessarily dangerous when they could just avoid them. A campfire scene at sunset. While Kailas looks relaxed, Eliana and the dark-haired lead are staring at him with looks of pure suspicion. Kailas wears a satisfied smile, claiming he just had something he wanted to check. It sounds like a simple excuse, but we know there's more to it. Check, Eliana echoes with a puzzled look. Her curiosity perfectly mirrors exactly what we're all thinking right now. A major plot point regarding the power system. Mana is completely unusable on this island. The visual of the ceiling chains emphasizes just how terrifying this restriction is. But here's the twist. The monsters on this island exist because of mana. It's a huge paradox. Kailas' sharp gaze suggests he's realized something is very wrong with this place. Even our dark-haired lead is starting to notice the inconsistencies. He looks tense as he begins to connect the dots between all these strange occurrences. I saw some strange words carved into a cliff. A new clue emerges. These incomprehensible inscriptions are signaling a much deeper mystery waiting to be uncovered. Eliana can't believe her eyes when she sees the writing. Her expression says that all this is a massive clue, and it likely connects back to the world she came from. A close-up of the word Alea carved into the cliffside. Is it a name, a code? Seeing Latin characters in this world is an absolute game-changer. Kailas drops another bombshell. I saw that too. It was engraved on the monsters' bodies as well. The mystery deepens. It's like everything on this island has been marked. Eliana stands there, frozen. The writing on the cliffs, the marks on the monsters, it all matches. It's as if someone or something is running this island like a twisted laboratory. And there's one more thing. Eliana reaches for something hidden away. The story is about to take a very interesting turn. She explains that she picked it up a few days ago while coming back from the mountain. The curiosity of the male leads and ours is hitting an all-time high right now. A close-up of Kailas' eyes. He has absolutely no idea what Alea is holding. You can see the pure shock reflected in his sharp gaze. Surprise! Alea pulls out a bright red flare gun. She confesses that the explosion in the sky from before, yeah, that was her doing. Using this very tool. Look at their faces, they're completely stunned. They can't wrap their heads around how a fragile girl could cause such a massive blast. With such a strange, tiny object. Chibi Alea gives a guilty little smile. She claims she wasn't trying to hide it. She just forgot to mention it because so much was happening. Talk about a relatable, yet ridiculous excuse. Alea explains that she was just fiddling with it. She had no clue this little device could shoot out such powerful sparks. The male leads ask, "Is this a magic tool?" Alea plays it cool and acts innocent, claiming even she isn't sure about its origins. Kailas examines the gun closely. At first, he notes that it doesn't look like a magic tool, but rather a modern object repurposed for something else. Chibi Alea is starting to sweat. She tells herself that if she knows too much about something this world has never seen, it'll be suspicious. Better to keep quiet. But then, Kailas suddenly changes his mind after spotting something strange. He exclaims, this. It does seem like a magic tool. Kailas' surprised expression as he uncovers the truth. The whole group is stunned by the possibility that something with no mana could be a magic tool. Kailas points out the tiny magic formulas engraved on the gun. He explains that mana has been condensed into it. Alea acts shocked. That's a magic formula. Chibi Alea nods to herself. She finally gets why the gun worked without real ammo. But she knows that's still not the most important part. Once again, the name Alea engraved on the gun appears, shrouded in mystery. It's the key that connects everything together. Alea uses her knowledge of Eastern languages as a cover. She claims that while others see code, to her, it sounds like a person's name. Alea speculates that Alea might actually be the name of the person who owned this tool. That mysterious hooded silhouette appearing in the background. Yeah, it's definitely signaling that a new player is about to enter the game. The truth is finally being acknowledged. Looking at the serious expressions on the male leads' faces, it's clear they're now certain they weren't the first ones here. This island mystery just evolved from a survival trek into something much deeper. The forest at twilight looks absolutely haunting. The suggestion that they might still be living here instantly shifts the mood. Suddenly, every rustle in the bushes feels like someone or something is watching them. Talk about a massive cliffhanger to end the chapter. If the owner of this tool is still alive, there's a huge chance they're the mastermind behind the kidnapping. This sets the stage perfectly for the chaos coming in the next chapter. The flare gun and its ammo take center stage as Alea's thoughts turn dark. If the owner of this modern tool is still out there, alive and well, it changes everything we thought we knew about this island. A chilling possibility crosses Alea's mind. What if the person who owns this technology is the very same mastermind behind our kidnapping? That mysterious hooded figure again. If this Alea is truly the culprit, what could they possibly want? The shadow of doubt is growing, and the name Alea feels like a curse. Alea looks toward a vision of Earth and modern technology. She wonders if this island was pulled from her old world, maybe even Korea. Are they all just lab rats in some twisted experiment, just like in the movies? A big question looms. How did people from a world of magic end up in a place filled with modern relics? The logic of this world is starting to crumble. Look at that shock on her face. She's questioning her very existence. How did I even end up in Margaret's body? It's mysteries on top of mysteries at this point. Standing under the fading light of sunset, the group realizes they're missing too many pieces of the puzzle. They need more information before making a move. The male leads are in deep discussion. They agree that as strange as things are, the current evidence isn't enough to make a final judgment on their situation. Alea holds the flare gun tight and nods. She knows that for now, keeping a cool head and focusing on the immediate tasks is their best bet for survival. As the sun finally disappears below the horizon, the group tidies up their sight. A long, exhausting day is ending, but the questions they've raised will surely haunt their dreams tonight. Alea fidgets with the red gun, the name Alea echoing in her mind. It's more than just a name, it's a clue she knows she's encountered before. Back to our thoughtful Chibi, she's wondering if Alea is Latin or Greek. Her modern world knowledge is definitely being put to the test right now. Breakthrough. She remembers learning the meaning of that word while studying kinesiology, a technical term that might just be the key to uncovering the island's true nature. Dawn breaks over the remote island, marking the official start of episode 29. The scenery is breathtaking, but we know danger is always lurking nearby. Alea stretches as she wakes up after a long night of theorizing, even on a deserted island. Our female lead looks absolutely radiant in the morning sun. Kaiden is already up and greets her with a simple, "You're up early." He looks surprisingly composed for someone in a survival situation. Look at Alea's shocked face. She probably didn't expect him to be such an early bird, or maybe he was up all night, planning their next move. But the real shocker is Kaila's. He shows up looking exhausted, with blood splattered all over his clothes. What on earth happened last night? Alea panics. Did the world end? What's with all that splatter? Chibi Alea is losing it while Kaila's just casually sits there cleaning himself up. When asked where he's coming from, Kaila's simply replies, "Been out hunting." That's one hell of a morning workout, even for a prince. Kaila's casually explains his midnight massacre. Apparently, those wolf monsters were being too noisy and ruined his sleep, so he just went out and took care of them. Classic power move from our silver-haired lead. A crucial detail about Kaiden's power is revealed. He has a unique constitution, where mana constantly accumulates inside his body. If it isn't artificially cleared out, he faces a serious risk of mana instability. But here's the problem. The magic earring meant to regulate his mana is completely shattered. Without it, Kaiden is essentially a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Kaila's looks incredibly refreshed after his monster hunting spree. Alea starts to wonder, is this constant combat actually a desperate way for the male leads to vent the intense mana pressure building up inside them? Look at the concern in Alea's eyes. She's terrified that if they don't find a permanent solution soon, the male leads might lose their sanity and go berserk right here on the island. Plot twist. Alea suddenly remembers that this world was originally a high-heat, R-rated romance novel, and the plot is about to take a turn she really isn't prepared for. In the original story, the protagonist you want to solve their mana problems through, let's just say, very intimate methods. These steamy flashbacks are definitely making Alea more than a little flustered. Chibi Alea is screaming internally, but that's not something I can do. She is absolutely determined not to follow the original novel's spicy script. Our lead is having a total mental breakdown. She's hiding her face in pure embarrassment, trying to figure out how to save their lives without compromising her own boundaries. Alea is deep in thought. If clearing the mana pots is the only solution, she needs to find a much more innocent way to help them. It looks like her medical knowledge is about to be put to an entirely different kind of test. Margaret suddenly recalls a crucial detail from her past memories. She realizes there might be another way to handle the mana issue, one that doesn't involve following the original novel's spicy script. A flashback to a lesson with Margaret's magic tutor. He explains that using mana is as natural as breathing, and constantly training one's core is the only way to truly master it. The tutor notes that Margaret already possesses a vast amount of mana. If she focuses on building up her physical stamina, her magical growth will be unstoppable. It clicks. Margaret connects the dots. Building physical stamina is the secret to making mana control much easier and more stable. She reasons that if the male leads engage in high-intensity labor like monster hunting, and learn to regulate their mana flow properly, the risk of going mad will significantly decrease. Noticing Margaret's intense, serious gaze, Kaiden flashes a charming smirk and asks, "Why are you staring at me like that? Did you fall for me?" Kaiden's ego is through the roof. Chibi Margaret has to shut him down instantly with the most hilarious not-a-chance expression. To avoid the awkwardness, Margaret quickly shifts the subject. She points out that Kaiden seems to have fully recovered his strength after his recent, bloody hunting spree. She asks Kaiden for a very productive favor, starting the campfire, while Enoch is out gathering more food for the group. Carrying a massive bundle of wood, Margaret asks Kaiden to keep the fire going until Enoch returns. It's a clever way to test her theory about physical labor stabilizing mana. Margaret is definitely up to something. She's planning to put Kaiden to work to help him stabilize his mana flow. Look at his totally confused face. He's a prince, and he's just been tasked with starting a fire. Meanwhile, Margaret is smirking to herself. Strictly following the rule, he who does not work shall not eat. Kaiden is completely frozen, looking totally lost. It seems being assigned a common task like starting a fire is a bit of a culture shock for our prince here. Margaret is just as surprised. She's thinking, does he really not know how to start a fire? It's a basic survival skill that this great tower master apparently never had to learn. Talk about an awkward situation. Margaret just stands there watching Kaiden, who's sitting with the firewood looking completely clueless. The silence between them is loud. Margaret tries to comfort him so he doesn't feel discouraged. Don't worry too much. Maybe you just haven't learned the right way yet. She's honestly such a patient teacher. She blames herself for being too hasty and giving an advanced course to a total beginner. That long staircase visual perfectly captures how she skipped way too many steps. In Kaiden's training, Margaret suggests letting Enoch handle the fire when he returns, while Kaiden sticks to gathering wood. But surprisingly, Kaiden confidently fires back. I'm actually quite good at starting fires. What? Margaret is stunned for the second time. She can't believe her ears after seeing how confused he looked just a moment ago. Kaiden burst out laughing, calling Margaret to naive. Meanwhile, Chibi Margaret looks absolutely annoyed because she feels like she's being played. Kaiden explains that even though mages are known for being shut-ins, as the Tower Master, there's no way he wouldn't know something as basic as this. A close-up of Kaiden's proud red eyes. He firmly asserts, there's no way that could be true, referring to the idea of him being incompetent. Margaret has to admit it. Kaiden is absolutely right. She can't really argue with the facts he's laying down right now. According to the original novel, Kaiden is an omnivorous intellectual who has mastered every field of knowledge in this world. We're talking about a literal once-in-a-generation genius here. For someone like him, not knowing how to start a fire would be completely ridiculous. Just look at that powerful aura. He's more than capable of handling basic survival tasks. But here's the kicker. Kaiden casually says it's too annoying, so he'd rather just go gather firewood instead. This selective laziness is clearly ticking off our chibi Margaret. Margaret finally gives in. Fine. Please do. She decides to take the lead and go hunting for dinner, leaving Kaiden in total shock. Wait, hunting? Margaret clarifies that she's just going to catch some fish. With that spear in hand and a look of pure determination, she's looking like a total boss right now. Kaiden shouts stop and tells her to wait a second. It's like he can't process the madness that's about to happen. Kaiden mocks her. Of all people, Margaret Roseflone is going fish hunting with a spear. He's literally questioning if she's even a noble lady anymore. Kaiden explains that it's not about the hunting itself. It's the fact that a high-ranking noble lady shouldn't be stabbing fish with a spear like that. Margaret thinks to herself, true, no real noble would hunt fish. But she knows when survival is on the line, pride and titles have to take a backseat. Margaret is officially over the fish diet. She's complaining that there are no other animals around to hunt, so she's stuck with whatever the ocean provides. Survival mode is kicking in. Margaret realizes it's time to move their shelter. Food resources are running low, and you can't live on fish and coconuts forever. Suddenly, a coconut rolls right up to them, catching Margaret and Kaiden completely off guard. This unexpected visitor is the first sign that things are about to get messy. Enter Enoch, and he looks absolutely furious. While Margaret is confused by the coconut, Enoch is clearly focused on something or someone else. Enoch is losing it. Look at that rage. He growls. I definitely tied him up. His protective and very jealous side is officially coming out to play. Margaret is totally lost. What do you mean, tied up? Meanwhile, our silver-haired troublemaker is lurking in the back with a very smug, provocative look. The tension is electric literally. Sparks are flying between Enoch and the prince. Poor Margaret is just standing there, caught in the crossfire of this alpha-male standoff. Enoch's eyes are glowing with pure territorial rage. He drops a heavy warning. I told you not to hang around, Margaret. Someone's in big trouble. Our silver-haired lead just smirks, complaining that he's being treated like a germ. He's even bringing up how friendly they were just last night by the campfire. Talk about adding fuel to the fire. Margaret has to step in before blood is spilled. She shouts, Enoch, don't tie him up again. She's basically the only thing keeping this group from tearing each other apart. Margaret steps in to stop Enoch from causing a scene. She firmly states she has a task for Kaiden. But our silver-haired prince is still trying to play hard to get, asking if he really has to do it. Margaret drops the ultimate survival rule. No work, no food. Look at that instant 180-degree turn. Suddenly, Kaiden is the most motivated firewood gatherer on the island. Margaret sets the quota. Enough wood for tonight's dinner and tomorrow's breakfast. Chibi Kaiden is literally hopping away with joy. Hunger is definitely a powerful motivator for a prince. Margaret breathes a huge sigh of relief. She managed to avoid a fight. But look at poor Enoch in the background. He still looks pretty stressed out by the whole situation. The manual labor is paying off. Kaiden realizes his head feels clearer, and his overall condition is significantly better. It turns out, physical work is the best medicine. Margaret's theory is officially proven. Physical labor is much more effective at stabilizing mana than dangerous monster hunting. As they say, a healthy mind and a healthy body. With a confident smirk and a sharp gaze, Margaret is ready to start her own part of the survival chores. She's definitely not the damsel in distress type. Kaiden just stands there, completely fascinated. He can't help but be intrigued by how resourceful and capable Margaret has become on this island. Margaret casually starts preparing a rabbit that Enoch caught. Kaiden is stunned. Yes, you can do this kind of thing too. Her survival skills are truly top tier. Kaiden offers a hand, but Margaret is a total pro. She politely declines and sends him off to help Enoch with the mule instead. She's definitely the boss of this camp. Arth is starting to get suspicious, and he's not holding back his thoughts on Margaret. The interrogation begins. Arth asks if she's an imposter because her personality has flipped. But Kaiden jumps in, claiming Arth just doesn't know her well enough. Kaiden is clearly enjoying this. He tells Arth that after living together, it's obvious Margaret isn't just your ordinary noble lady. Kaiden drops a bombshell about her true self, leaving Margaret in a total chibi panic. She's like, wait, what is he even talking about? Kaiden being weird as expected. But now even Enoch is looking at her with a strange sense of pride. The vibes are shifting. Arth is relentless. He demands to know her true identity, leaving our poor female lead completely speechless. Look at this intense close-up. Arth is dead serious about getting an answer right now. Internal panic mode activated. Margaret is sweating bullets trying to figure out a safe answer. Her secret identity. Basically Bear Grylls in a dress. She quickly shoos Arth away to help Enoch just to escape the awkwardness. Arth walks away pouting like a child, leaving Margaret to finally catch her breath. Crisis averted. For now. Margaret notes that compared to the original novel, this version of Kaiden is actually quite cooperative. Talk about a lucky change. In the original story, Kaiden was a total outsider who refused to mingle with anyone, even the heroine. He was the definition of a lone wolf. Lest we forget, Kaiden and Enoch were actually the ones who despised the original Margaret the most. But look at them now. Both of these powerful men are suddenly playing on her team. Margaret can't help but wonder what changed. This close-up shows her deep in thought. She ends the chapter with a simple wish, that things continue to stay this favorable. But on this island, peace never lasts long.